Little Victory Sports Cards here, and I hope everyone's been doing great, gearing up for the National. I hope your sales or collecting have been going really well. Today, I have a buying and grading tips video for you today, and I'm going to highlight these tips within answering the most common asked questions I get in my YouTube comment section. So let's just dive right into it with the first question. Is the question I get the most. It is, where do I get my cards? So in order of where I get the most of my cards is number 1, eBay, number 2, COMC, number 3, card shows, number 4, local card shops, and number 5, private collections. So now I will give you a little tips for each one. So there are so many platforms these days to buy cards, and if you're like me, you get extremely overwhelmed and can go broke buying off all of them. I wish I could, but I don't have the time or money to buy from every one. So I just stick with eBay. That's my go-to bread and butter. But I know there's other good options out there. If you're a little more higher end, I would look into PWCC or Golden or those the higher end auction houses. But then there's also whatnot, Facebook, yada yada yada. But eBay, when buying on eBay, there are two big tips: buy auction style and use a sniping service that will bid for you in the last few seconds, and that way you'll have a better chance to get that card for cheaper. I use Easy Sniper, but there are a ton of sniping services out there. Now, there are two main ways I like searching and buying items off of eBay. First is an easy one. I like buying from those big consigners on eBay. For example, the DC Sports 87 or Probstein, because you're actually going to get the cards you win. I hate when you win an auction for a good deal and the seller just automatically refunds you your money back, or just never ships the card, or bad communication. At least these big companies don't do that. And they have auction style listings and pretty much daily. So I just search items from those sellers, and I go through all of them that end that day and click that little heart watch, which adds it to your watch list that I'm interested in, and then I go into my snipe service, which is automatically linked to your eBay account, so it has everything in your watch list in there, and then I'll just plug in what I want to bid on each one and go from there. But you got to watch out, because doing this every day can get spendy really, really quick. So maybe instead of every day, just pick one day each week to do this. That might help you a little bit. So I recommend buying in the off season. For example, it's the off season for football and basketball. So I am buying heavily on those two sports right now. So my second main way of buying cards off eBay is a little more intricate. First, I Google NBA or NFL depth charts. Then I go through each team and write down which players I want to buy. Then every week I search each player on eBay, usually typing in their player name and their rookie year. And then I designate auction style and start adding the ones I'm interested in my watch list. And then I add those to my sniping service that I mentioned before, which is linked to your eBay account, and then you're all ready to go. So here's an example. I like Domantas Sabonis. I know he got owned in the playoffs, but he is having a nice overall career, and he plays for a good team with the Kings, and his cards are still pretty dang cheap. So here's a little video of my example. Okay, so I'm going to go into my eBay app, and in the search bar, select Domantas Sabonis and his rookie year, which is 2016. And then I'm just going to hit search. And from there, I'm going to filter. Go to the filter, and always one auction style. And ending soonest. Easier to keep track of that way. Alright, so there's 59 results. And you'll see kind of what I'm looking for. So here's an autograph. It has lots of bids on it. That's a good sign if people want it. So I'm going to go ahead and like that one. Down below it, there's an Excalibur auto. I like that one. Ooh, I'd love to have that gold prism, but way too much. Keep cruising. This one says, this Starburst says from Hong Kong, so I usually stay away from overseas. Here's a nice select silver. Look at that, low opening bid of 99 cents. It's PSA 9. I'm going to go ahead and like that one. Keep cruising. And nothing really coming out yet. This Mosaic I like. Low opening bid. Let's do it. And then what I'm doing right here is just clicking on that little heart. And that puts it in your watch list. Not seeing anything else quite yet. I like that Spectra out of 49, but just a little too high opening bid of 120. Still cruising. There's a silver for 99 cent opening bid. Let's do it. And another silver raw, $20. I like that one. Nothing else speaking to me. And there you go. So now I would do this search again in about 7 days, because most auctions end in about 7 days, so you kind of have to reload. So, you know, if say I'm doing this on a Monday, then I would do this same search again next Monday, and keep doing that over and over, and find some good deals auction style. All right, there you go. So yeah, do that player search each week, rinse and repeat. And I usually don't worry about the grading condition aspect of the cards I buy off eBay until after I receive them. I know it sounds weird, but people always ask what percentage of what I buy on eBay is actually grade worthy. And I'd say usually about 30% of the cards I buy off eBay are gradable. I usually just let it spray, meaning, you know, I put a ton of e-snipes, probably 100 e-snipes a day, and I only, on average, probably win 5% of it, because I put in low bids for what I want to win it for. I just figure at least I'm giving it a shot, and the ones I do win, then that means I'm getting it for a great deal. Condition good or condition bad, I'm getting it for a great deal. That's just how I do things. Also, when you search for an item off eBay, even after your main search results, at the bottom, keep scrolling down, because a lot of times eBay will still show related items, and a lot of those are really great cards. So look at those. You're going to like a lot of them and watch them, trust me. But let's go ahead and move on to the next where I get my cards, and that is number 2, COMC. So COMC stands for check out my cards. And it's a great place to buy cards, especially if you sell cards on there too. You know, I sell a lot of cards on there, so it's nice not having to spend my own money. You see, you get credit when your card sells, and you just use that credit. You can cash it out, but you can use that credit to buy other people's cards on there. So it's essentially like trading cards. And their selection is massive, and it's an easy to use site, so that's a good place to buy for that option. All right, number 3 is card shows. I highly recommend going to local card shows. I would go to every one I could, you know, when I was younger, and I still like going to them for sure. You know, and go early. You know, when all the dealers are setting up, go ahead and be there. I recommend diving right into those dollar boxes, those $5 boxes, and have fun doing it. And always make offers on all the higher end, better cards in the cases, because you never know what they'll accept. And what's great about card shows is that you actually get to be there in person and check the condition, which is a huge plus, especially if you're a raw to grade kind of guy like me. You also get to build connections, which will help purchases in the future. All right, number 4 is local card shops. Go to your local LCSs and go there to buy singles. Don't go there to buy wax, okay? You know, the same as the card shows. You get to check the condition in person, and you can build a rapport with the store owner, which can help you, the store owner can help you find the cards you're really interested in or better deals in the future. The more you shop, the better deals you'll get. And it's fun. I always get that great feeling inside, as I did as a kid when I go into a card shop, even now. So it's a stress reliever in a way. So it's fun to go to card shops. Finally, number 5 was personal collections. I'm still living off of some of the big collections I bought 5 to 10 years ago. I go to those wells all the time when I'm submitting cards for grading. So usually each city has a handful of guys that scour Craigslist all day and buy up all the collections out there. You guys probably know those guys. I'm not one of them, but I highly recommend getting to know those guys. Usually you get to know them at local card shops or the card shows. And then after they buy those collections, they usually want to flip quick, because buying collections, it takes up a lot of space. So they want to move quick. So they'll often call you, make sure they have your number. So they'll call you and then you'll get to go have a chance to go check out the collection and buy it from them. It's a win-win. They make a little money and then you get to have the collection and go through it. It's so fun. Nothing beats when you bring home a massive collection and you get to go through each one to find the valuable ones. All right, so another question I get a lot is how many cards do I grade per month? So I would say on average, I grade about 175 cards per month. This year to date, I've already graded 1,000 cards. And that brings me to a good tip. I say you guys need to submit consistently, space out your orders so you have that nice steady flow of submissions coming in regularly. That way you have that new inventory you can list coming in on a regular basis, just not all at once. I also get a lot of questions about which grading company to go with. So my answer is that it's your preference, but I personally go with PSA like 100% of the time. PSA maximizes the value of your card the best, and their services and their app are just so easy to use and user-friendly. I love their status checks. I love their swipe to reveal when the grades pop. Their turnaround times have been solid, and their grading specials seem to be the best grading deal out there. There really is so much I love about PSA. But SGC, there's a good looking out of 100 gold LeBron rookie. SGC is a good option too. But I still think their price point is too high, in my opinion. Their turnaround time is incredible and they're consistent. But me personally would rather have a card take 2 months and pay only $12 or $15 to grade a card. I was so close to using SGC a lot more, but they never lowered their pricing fees lower than that, like $20 for the longest time. And in my opinion, that was their chance to gain ground on PSA, but they played it conservatively. I think they should have been aggressive and stolen away some PSA customers with better pricing at that time. But the next one, like BGS, don't even get me started. You can check out my past videos on them. I just don't recommend using them anymore. So you're left with PSA or SGC, both viable options. But if you want to maximize the best value out of your card, go with PSA. So I get a lot of questions about cracking out cards because I do a lot of crack out reveal videos, which cards to crack and so on. So first, it's my belief that it's always better to just actually crack out the card and resubmit rather than to send the actual slab for crossover. I know it's more risky, but trust me, it's better this way. You're going to get higher grades. Very rarely does PSA decide to cross over a card. And let's be honest, I sympathize with them because it's extremely difficult to actually see a card's true condition in a thick slab, especially like a BGS slab, where it's really thick and not as clear. In my opinion, the best cards right now to actually crack out are BGS slabs. Mainly because they have the subgrades, so, and that can tell you where they saw certain flaws. I honestly wish more grading companies gave subgrades. And another reason why to crack out BGS is that they currently sell significantly less than PSA slabs. And it's honestly a good time to start cracking out your BGS and submit to PSA if that's what you want to do. So if you're going for a gem mint 10, ideally you want to crack out a true gem, which means all 4 subgrades are 9.5s. This is going to give you the best chance. But if there is a 9 subgrade in there, just kind of make sure it's not corners. That's going to hit harder. And BGS seems to be tougher on centering than PSA, so a 9 there doesn't deter me as much. Here's an example. This is the true gem, and it did get that 10, so I was very happy with that. I would say I've been lucky with crackouts. I'd say 2/3 of the time I get the desired grade, I get the bump. So almost 75% of the time I get that bump, and I'm really happy with. Here's another one, a true gem that I cracked out. Ended up getting that 10. But I do have some times where I get that 9. Here's the silver Tatum. As you can see, it had true gems. I was very confident about this card, but it did get the 9, so that one took a hit. But it happens, and I recommend not selling it as the lower grade mint 9. Just keep it and crack it out later down the road. I don't know what they saw on that one, but that's okay. And also, even BGS mint 9s can potentially get a PSA gem mint 10. Just kind of make sure every subgrade is at least a 9. But my favorite cards to crack out are BGS 8.5s. Yes, 8.5s. Right here. The 8.5 BGS values are so low right now. There's honestly nowhere to go but up if you grade with PSA, because even if it gets a PSA near mint to mint 8, that will still sell for more than that BGS 8.5. And a lot of the times the card actually gets a mint 9, It just might need cleaned up, microfiber cloth to just wipe down that surface. So keep an eye out for good deals on BGS 8.5s. And this is the case. I bought this Giannis Auto 8.5. It did have an 8 surface, but I didn't see much. I saw one kind of surface scratch. But usually if it just has one light surface scratch, PSA will still give you that mint 9. And that's what they did in this case. I was very happy. So it was worth the risk. It paid off for sure on that one. Now, there are some cards that you should avoid cracking out from BGS, and those are the thicker, patch, jersey, auto cards. PSA grades those thick cards way tougher than BGS or SGC, so it's not worth it. A lot of times PSA will grade them 1 or 2 grades lower, and it just doesn't make sense financially. So this is a perfect example. Here's Gem Mint 9.5, Damian Lillard. It's a thicker card. and the corner's got a 9. So you look around, and this darker, you can see right there, that bottom right corner, white showing. That'll automatically knock it to a PSA mint 9, in my opinion. And you also have a lot of darker edge corners on the back, so it might have a touch of white there. So that one I would not crack out. And here's another example. I know I love 8.5 crackouts, but you know, it's got a 8 surface and an 8.5 corners. That means this thicker patch card's really cool. The mark card will have some white showing somewhere, and let's find it. A lot showing down there on that bottom left, a ton, and that bottom right. Whoa, look at that. See that top right? Look at all that. I think PSA would definitely give it, I would say, even a 7 or a 7.5 because of that. If you're lucky, an 8, but, you know, I think it drops down to a 7 with that corner. So that, I would not be cracking out that, even though it's just a cool looking card. Another example. Here's a mint 9. I love this card, numbered out of 10 gold. CJ McCollum. I loved him on the Blazers. But look at the corners. Look at that one, that bottom left. All that white showing. All that white showing on that top right and top left. So, you know, they give it an 8.5 corners. This card would grade a PSA 8. So definitely not worth cracking out. Or you can even do the centering. Here's another one that's not worth it. You can already see it's very thin on the right as opposed to the left. Beckett gave an 8.5 centering. That's pretty accurate. I may even have gone an 8. So it got a BGS 9, but I don't think it would even get a PSA 9. I think that centering would knock it to a PSA 8. But you never know. Either way, that gamble is not worth the risk. So I would not crack out that one. So hopefully you can get some examples of what I would and won't crack out. Okay, so that was a lot of fun. It would take too much time to go through any more questions. I don't want to make this video too long. So comment down below with more questions that might be good for me to answer in future videos. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and happy collecting.